We are all suffering from the same silent crisis: overstimulation. Your brain is addicted to easy pleasure, notifications, and endless scrolling. This is why you feel zero motivation for real work, why you're always stressed, and why your focus lasts less than 5 minutes. This isn't just about bad habits, it's about a chemical hijack of your most precious resource, your attention. But what if you could reset your mind? What if you could flip a switch, regain your laser focus, and feel genuinely motivated again? You can. The solution is simple, temporary, and requires immense courage. It's called the dopamine detox. It's the key to making the things that truly matter, your goals, your relationships, your growth, finally feel rewarding again. Get ready to understand the deep science of why you've been stuck and how to finally break free. To fix this, we need to understand the fundamental science. Dopamine isn't just the pleasure chemical, it's the motivation chemical. It's the neurotransmitter that drives you to seek, pursue, and persist toward a reward. When you see a notification, dopamine fires, creating a strong urge to click. The problem is that continuous, quick, and easy hits like social media teach your brain to expect massive rewards for zero effort. This sets you up for failure in the real world. This idea was dramatically proven in the 1970s by Dr. Bruce K. Alexander through the famous rat park study. For years, the scientific community believed that addiction was purely chemical, that any exposure to a substance would create dependence. But Dr. Alexander challenged this. Instead of isolating rats in small, barren cages with only drug-laced water, the standard procedure, he created a massive, stimulating rat park. This park was a vibrant, enriching environment, complete with toys, tunnels, running wheels, and plenty of other rats to socialize with. He found that the rats in the barren, miserable cages became overwhelmingly addicted to the drug-laced water. However, the rats in the stimulating, rich park overwhelmingly chose the plain water. They rarely consumed the drugs. This taught us a critical lesson. Addiction isn't just about the chemical, it's about the cage you're in. Our modern, overstimulated, yet paradoxically unfulfilling digital life puts your brain in a mental cage, making the instant dopamine hit the only easily available reward. If you want to stop the addiction, you must enrich your environment, and that starts with a detox. Think of your brain like a speaker system. If you keep the volume maxed out with constant digital noise, it loses the ability to appreciate subtle sounds. Your real-world achievements, like learning a new skill, completing a tough project, release dopamine slowly and gently. But because your brain is used to the deafening volume of a viral video or a game, it completely ignores the quiet, subtle satisfaction of real accomplishment. This isn't a lack of willpower, it's a chemical burnout where your natural reward system is desensitized. Neuroscientists use studies involving high-reward stimuli, like hyperpalatable processed food, to explain how the hedonic treadmill works. In one key study, when subjects regularly consumed high-sugar, high-fat snacks, their baseline dopamine level actually rose to accommodate the constant influx. This created a profound problem. A normal, healthy piece of fruit or a simple home-cooked meal, which previously provided a rewarding dopamine spike, now barely registers as pleasurable because the brain's normal is now set so high. To feel motivated or satisfied, the brain now requires the super stimulus. That is precisely what chronic social media, gaming, and binge-watching are doing to your entire life, raising your baseline until your challenging, productive, and meaningful real life feels hopelessly dull and frustrating. The detox is designed to deliberately lower that set point. The dopamine detox is a temporary, conscious abstinence from high-stimulation activities. It's a structured system for resetting your brain's sensitivity. Think of it not as punishment, but as a powerful recovery tool, a vital rest day for your neurological system. By cutting off the fire hose of instant rewards for a fixed period, whether it's a focused few hours, a full day, or an intentional weekend, you're deliberately starving the overstimulated receptors. You're letting the system rest. So when you return to normal, simple things like reading or quiet contemplation suddenly feel rewarding again. Clinical research into behavioral and substance dependency consistently shows that a crucial period of abstinence is non-negotiable for the brain's D2 dopamine receptors to reset. These D2 dopamine receptors are responsible for mediating motivation and reward signals. When they are constantly flooded by instant gratification, they actually become physically less sensitive and even fewer in number. By taking a detox, you are essentially forcing your brain to undergo a biological recovery period, allowing those receptors to regain their function and sensitivity. This is why when you start the detox, the first few hours are often the hardest. It's your starved receptors screaming for their fix. But once you push past that initial discomfort, the recovery process begins. To execute a detox, you must be surgical about what you cut out. These activities are intentionally designed to be high stimulation and low effort, making them the most toxic to your focus. Social media, the endless scroll which exploits the variable reward system, video games or binge watching, high-intensity graphics and narrative that provide instant, overwhelming rewards. Junk food or sugary snacks, the chemical kick that dulls your natural appetite for healthy, simple food. Excessive music. Avoid wearing headphones constantly. Your brain needs silence to process and reflect. Random internet browsing, jumping from link to link without purpose, a form of digital fidgeting. It's not that these things are inherently evil, it's that their rate of reward is so high, it contaminates your ability to enjoy the slow, sustained reward of meaningful work. If you stop the high-stimulus activities, your mind will demand to know, what do I do instead? You replace them with low-stimulation, high-value activities. This is the key to a successful detox, as it keeps your brain gently engaged without overwhelming it. Mindful walking. Walk outside, alone, without music or your phone. Journaling or writing. Dump your thoughts onto paper, a form of external brain processing. Creative activity, simple drawing, knitting, or cooking, anything manual that grounds you in the present. Reading, choose a long-form non-fiction book that requires sustained concentration. This technique of replacing digital noise with natural exposure is backed by science. The Japanese health practice of Shinrin-ku-yoku, or forest bathing, has been rigorously studied. Researchers found that subjects who spent focused, mindful time in nature, compared to those in a high-density urban setting, showed significantly lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol and increased activity in the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and digest. This is profound. A simple non-digital walk is a powerful biological recovery tool that directly lowers stress and improves your capacity for focus. It's a free, easily accessible detox activity. When you embrace low stimulation, you inevitably face boredom. Most of us instinctively grab our phones the moment boredom strikes, but Meurisse says boredom is the silent gateway to creativity and deep thinking. When you stop feeding your mind instant content, it is forced to feed itself original ideas. The brilliant minds throughout history weren't scrolling, they were contemplating in silence. Tolerate the initial discomfort, and your mind will reward you with profound clarity. For decades, scientists thought the brain was off during rest, but in the late 1990s, Dr. Marcus Reichel's team, using brain scans, discovered the default mode network. They found that when subjects were simply resting, daydreaming, or allowing their mind to wander, not focusing on an external task, a complex network of brain regions consistently lit up. This default mode network, or DMN, is responsible for high-level cognitive functions like self-reflection, ethical problem-solving, narrative creation, and future planning. When you constantly engage in high-stimulus tasks, you effectively suppress your default mode network, effectively silencing your inner genius. Boredom is just your DMN waiting patiently for permission to finally get to work and solve your toughest problems. After completing your detox, the crucial next step is to implement an intentional reward system. Your brain needs to be retrained to understand that significant rewards are only earned after effort and delay. You must actively reverse the habit loop that the digital world has instilled. Apply this simple but powerful rule. First, the hard work, then the pleasure. You must complete 45 minutes of deep, focused work before you allow yourself to check social media.
You must complete a difficult assignment before you have a sugary snack or watch a show. This system reprograms your brain's core functioning. You are essentially telling your dopamine system, if you want to hit, you have to push me through this long, challenging task first. This strategy aligns dopamine release with productive, long-term behavior. When your brain learns that focused effort leads to a guaranteed reward, that effort ceases to be a burden and becomes the path of least resistance towards satisfaction. You are not suppressing dopamine, you are directing it to motivate the life you actually want to live. Let's check back with Alex. After successfully completing a weekend detox, the shift wasn't that his life became suddenly exciting, but that the pain of boredom vanished. When he sat down to prepare for a certification exam, the task, while difficult, no longer triggered the overwhelming urge to check his phone every 5 minutes. He experienced the quiet, genuine satisfaction of understanding a complex concept, a reward that felt deeper and more sustained than any fleeting social media like. The work felt possible again. Your action step today is immediate and non-negotiable. Choose one high dopamine activity that is currently hijacking your life, whether it's compulsive scrolling, gaming, or checking your email every 2 minutes, and eliminate it completely for the next 24 hours. Don't replace it with another high-stimulus activity. Instead, embrace the simple, low-stimulation activities we discussed. Just observe what happens in your mind when you deny yourself the quick fix. That initial discomfort is the sound of your freedom beginning. Understand this. The practice of the dopamine detox is not about deprivation. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty. The ultimate benefit is not just better focus. It's a life governed by purpose, not compulsion. When your dopamine system is balanced, the anxiety and restlessness caused by constant digital noise is replaced by a profound sense of inner peace. You start seeing the world in higher resolution. You become emotionally stable and less reactive because you are no longer chasing the next cheap hit. Your motivation becomes consistent, your focus sharpens, and you find a sustainable way to pursue long-term goals. You transition from being a passive consumer of content to an active creator of your own life. You become the master of your mind, not its slave to the next notification sound. The choice is always yours. Constant, fleeting, easy pleasure, or genuine, hard-won, long-term, meaningful fulfillment. If you are serious about breaking free from the grip of distraction and starting your journey toward clarity, focus, and self-mastery, hit the subscribe button now. And for a powerful commitment, tell us in the comments which single high dopamine trigger you are cutting out for the next 24 hours.